Joe Biden is visiting Florida today as recent polling shows some vulnerabilities with Hispanic voters in the Sunshine State. Take a look at this chart compiled by the Washington Post. It shows Biden doing almost as well as Hillary Clinton among Hispanic voters nationally and better than she did in the battleground state of Arizona. But when you look at Florida, where Clinton won Hispanics in 2016 by almost 30 points, Biden's lead over President Trump is in the low double digits. Biden's standing among Hispanic and Latino voters is an issue he acknowledged himself yesterday, telling reporters his poll numbers, quote, gotta go higher, and that he's going to work like the devil to make sure he turns every Latino and Hispanic vote. But the question of why Biden is losing ground with Latino voters still remains unclear. One possible explanation comes from Politico. It reports that Florida Latino voters are being swamped by a host of conspiracy theories aimed at damaging Democrats in the nation's biggest swing state. Sabrina Rodriguez is one of the reporters behind that article, and she joins me now from Washington. Hi there, Sabrina. Thanks for being with us. Let's start with the ads themselves. Who is behind them? Where are they showing up? And what are some of the claims they're making?
Hi, thanks for having me, Elaine. And, it's really been everywhere, flooding South Florida, particularly where, there's the concentration of Latinos in the state. And a lot of it has come in the form of WhatsApp groups, which is really commonly used among Latin American immigrants in the area, as well as in radio. Just this past week, we saw an insert in El Nuevo Herald, the Spanish version of the Miami Herald, that is putting out all these conspiracy theories and claims such as, Black Lives Matter are worse than the Nazis, or that, Biden has a pedophilia problem. And this is being shared widely. It's going viral. And the big problem is there's not very much oversight in Spanish language media and, being held accountable in that sense.
Well, Florida has an especially diverse Latinx community where voters have roots from all across Central and South America. Traditionally, Cuban Americans have been a main bloc of Latino Republicans, but how have things evolved in recent years, and how does that play into this story?
Absolutely. I mean, the stereotype when it's spoken about, Florida Latino politics is often, Republican Cubans. But in the last few years, there's been many more immigrants from Colombia, from Venezuela, that have recently arrived and are very invested in the politics as well. They tend to be Democratic leaning, but when they register to vote, it's often as an independent. So they're really in that sweet spot of what, Trump ultimately wants to sway to vote for him come November.
Well, how concerned are Florida Democrats about this, and what are they doing to combat it?
Yeah, it's a huge concern for the party right now. And a lot of, Latino advocacy groups, there's Latino Victory Project that's here based in Washington, that's really trying to get out the word and really trying to focus on, spreading information that's accurate and trying to explain to, this is an issue that hits at home for older Latinos that are very commonly on Facebook and are very commonly communicating with their family on WhatsApp. So part of it is, spreading that. And I think the biggest development that we've seen is just this past weekend, Mike Bloomberg said that he's going to be spending up to $100 million in ads, and is very aware that part of that has to be towards just targeting Hispanic voters with correct information.
Yeah, this really isn't something that we've heard much about in previous election cycles. Really interesting. Sabrina Rodriguez from Politico, thanks for coming on to talk about your reporting.